an email gateway or scanner sees this, it should react and say, hey, you got spam. User 1, I'm picking on this guy today. Foo.com. The subject is what? Test 150, and this is spam. Go ahead and paste in the Gtube. There are actually a number of services that will actually test your service as well, including if you sign up for a mortgage company. Bang. And, okay. So we just sent those two off. On Domo, check my email on the overburdened Exchange unit. There are our emails we just sent. One spam, and it's saying, hey, this virus has been scanned. It's been passed. It's actually been something called tag and pass. So we've actually changed the subject to, hey, is it spam or not? You can actually put a rating system in here. You can actually put a numeric system so that the user actually knows, hey, what's the worth of this email? Scale of 5 to 10, okay. If it's a 10, it's probably spam. I'm not even going to open it. It's a 5, maybe it's my friend putting in some terms about male enhancement or Viagra. Maybe I got to read it, right? Virus, that's pretty cut and dry. And Mail Scanner will actually pull out the attachment. And again, I tell you, don't save these things for people to pick up. If they're viruses, they're viruses. You know, it's like the Windows 95. Hey, I need my file back. I need it repaired. It says it's a virus. Well, guess what? It's a virus now. It's not a file. Okay, there's no way to get that file back. So just delete that. This will take it out, and it'll actually even save an attachment if you tell it to. This one's just default. It just deletes it and says, hey, this is a virus. If you want to complain, call your IT department. And they left a blank link in there. So I tell you what, at this point, I'm going to shut down here, and I'm going to open it up for questions. Any questions? Yes?
If you're worried about overburden with mail servers,
Yeah.
do you think that heuristic or scanning or Bayesian techniques are really effective as compared to things like virus and phishing?
Bless you. Well, the nice thing is, overburden Exchange units and Lotus Notes units, you're not going to get away from, okay? But, and I knew somebody was going to answer this question, the mail scanning gateway is not going to be overburdened at all. I run probably about 80,000 emails through a 2.4 core, not a dual core, but 2.4 hyper-threaded processor with about 2 gig of RAM. It's a pretty meaty box, but on today's standards, I mean, I know a lot of people with gaming boxes that blow that away, right? Run SCSI drives. I process 80,000 emails a day. Only about 8,000 of them were valid. And they run the spam tactics. I don't go over 10% CPU. On user process, I don't think I run over 0.5%. So you're not really going to overburden the mail scanner unless you put it on like a Pentium or something like that. Hope that answered the question.
For the rest of the questions, if you could use the microphone in the center there, that would be fantastic.
I was just going to ask for, fine, I'll do it. I just going to ask for,
Yes.
hot servers and such like, they're susceptible to worms and everything else, but what about web-based email, Yahoo?
Well, that's going to go down to the MUA. Your MUA, in the case of Gmail, okay, is going to be a web-based client. And there's really no stopping a virus. I mean, if your ISP isn't checking it, guess what? You're downloading that virus. And now the only thing that's going to catch that virus is a client antivirus system, okay? And again, if we go back to our best practices are going to dictate that you have a firewall or some egress filtering on your client. Now, you should, in any secure network, you should form the layers of security like an onion, okay? And you should build them outward. So your client systems are going to be your end system that your user is going to deal with. You want to have, at bare minimum, some kind of firewalling system that looks by application that says, hey, it's fine for Outlook to send stuff out on port 25, but I'm going to alert the user if a regular executable sends something out on port 25, right? And then you get the Windows dialog box, accept, reject. You remember the Mac commercial, right? Right, but it's going to inform the user that there's something happening on their machine that isn't quite right, okay? And that's built into XP, not Vista, okay, as of Service Pack 2. As far as downloading a worm or a virus from a web-based client, the only thing that's going to stop that is your client's antivirus, okay? There's no spam fighting that you can do there. You're going to get that information. The good thing is you don't have to download it all. Now, with POP clients, you can actually put an add-in, I think CloudMark makes one, that'll actually look at the stuff coming down from the POP server, and as it comes down, it'll actually filter through it. The problem, again, is you're filtering it right on that client. So you're running the CPU time up, you got a dial-up, pack a lunch, eat your Wheaties, you ain't going to see it for a week, right? So you're still downloading it, but those are the MUAs. In this is the best solution because you're actually putting it before it gets to the ISP server. Now, we don't have any control over ISP, but if you are running an ISP. So I hope that answered your question. Yep. Any other questions? Yes?
How does the solution handle redundancy? If the mail scanner gateway goes down, you are pretty much completely sitting ducks until you actually get it back up and running again. Am I right?
Yes, but there's two things. There's two things, and if you don't follow the best practices, okay, then, yeah, you're going to be basically handcuffed. One, you can add a second server, and in your firewall, go back to that slide here. Okay. I just leave that up because it's going to start from the beginning. At the firewall, you'll open up a second port 25 to a second mail scanning gateway. On the outside in your DNS, you'll set up two MX records, one primary with a 10, second MX with a 20, and then if the first one isn't available, it'll automatically load over to the second. Okay, that's first technique. That's if you want to take matters into your own hands. But let's say, you're a small company, you don't want to set up two of these servers because that's a pain, right? What you could do is you could actually go out to your ISP. A lot of ISPs, good ISPs, not like, well, I'm not going to say names. A lot of good ISPs will actually give you backup mail capabilities so that rather than put in that second IP inside your facility, which is a good thing, but in some cases it's a bad thing because if your entire network goes down, guess what? You're losing all that mail if it doesn't retransmit in the given period of time SMTP dictates. Okay? In that instance, I always say, go to your ISP, get a backup mail server. Okay? What's going to happen is your primary record's going to go to you. Your secondary record's going to go to your backup at your ISP on the other side of your WAN connection. If your connection fails, it's not going to be able to contact you. It's going to go to your backup server. Your backup server is going to hold that mail and tell that user that, yes, the mail's been delivered. And then when you come back online, it's going to spit all that mail back at you. Okay? So that's the redundancy part with mail, but those are just best practices. In Mail Scanner itself, the only redundancy is setting up a second server, putting in a second DNS entry. But yeah, you can do it. So. Any other questions? Yes?
Generally, what's your success rate for blocking spam using these
Oh.
systems, and what's your false positive versus false negative rates?
That's a great question. It all depends on who you talk to. And because the tests that I've run, I've got 98% success, okay? But you're still going to get that 2% of, pump and dump spam. Right now I'm working with a facility that's undergoing a pump and dump scam where they're sending penny stocks, right? And it's like, hey, put money in this stock. We're seeing a lot of, come through the system. So we're seeing about 2%. On the other side of that, the false positives, I should say false negatives, we're seeing about less than 1%. So, and that's mainly like mail groups. You get on a mail server and it's sending something through. We had one instance where an education website or a mail group was actually being denied. You just go in, whitelist it, bang, you're golden. Okay, but it didn't fail by much. And it was really the content that they put in the email and how they forged that email rather than the actual sender. So, tell you what, I think I'm running close on time because we have a presentation at 2. But can I take one more question? Really quick. Okay, so one more really quick question. Any takers? All right. All right, well, I hope I've inspired some people to go back and throw up a Linux box and a Linux gateway, and really enjoyed talking at the conference. So, thank you.
Test. 1, 2, 3. So is it going up? 1, 2, 3, 4.
What?